Hey guys, I'm working today on a Yamaha AV-35. This is an integrated amp. As you can see, I'm already pretty well torn into this thing. Originally, I wasn't going to film this one, so I started working on it. I was looking for a starter system for my niece who's getting into records and music. And someone gave me this for free, so I thought I'd just give it a cleanup and see if it worked or not. But as I'm tearing into this, and this was available as part of just a console system, which usually console systems aren't that great, which is why I wasn't going to bother filming for you. But I'm digging into this, and I've got a nice heavy chassis. Nice looking circuit boards. We're all Elna and Rubicon and Nichicon. Good caps all throughout. All copper screws holding our circuit boards in. Like some good Toshiba and other good IC chips and stuff in here. Nice big heat sinks. Guys, this thing's built. Look at the size of the transformer. Nice caps in there. Everything. The more I tear into this, the more impressed I am just with the quality of parts and whatnot in it. So I think this one, it's definitely still going to be for my niece, but I think we're going to do a little more thorough cleanup and let's do a basic recap. I think this one will be worth making 100%. It's built really well. It's heavy. There it is. Where I'm at now, I've got the front panel tore apart, as you can see, just to get in so I can see the circuit boards and clean things and get some contact cleaner in the pots and whatnot. So I'm touring that far. So I'm just going to start on these front circuit boards. I'm going to dig. Hopefully I've got caps on hand for this. If not, I might have to order a few things. But I'm just going to start at the front, work my way through it to the back. So I'm going to go dig through the capacitor bins, see what I've got for these 1, 2, right here. This one, there's just a couple ceramic caps. We won't worry about those. And this circuit board down here. See if there's anything on with the volume. There's one bipolar 1UF. 50 volt, on with the volume control. So I'll see if I've got that. Probably do. Anyway, I'll get this front section done and we'll take a look at that, see what that looks like, and then we'll look at. Looks like there's a circuit board, big circuit board underneath it, with our big caps and whatnot on it. A couple other circuit boards in here. We're just going to go through this one by one, and as I go, I'll just get whatever little parts I need. I should have most of this. I can't really see in to tell what our big caps are, so I may or may not need to order something there. That's easy enough though. A few of these maybe. Most of this I should have. Anyway, I'll see what I got for these front boards and we'll catch up with you in a bit. Alright, there's our first circuit board done. Mostly done. You can see I've cleaned up most of the crud off of here. I've still got to get in with a little brush and do a little more cleanup, but I'll do that later. Got all the caps changed. Here's what came out of it. I haven't gone through and tested yet necessarily to see what's good, bad. Our two big caps there bulge out a little bit on the bottom. That may be nothing, may be something. We'll test them later and see. We've got all Nichicon fine gold, a couple of Muse caps in there. A few things. There were some 2.2 UF caps and a couple of 1 UF caps. Those got replaced with solid film caps, which I like to do whenever possible. They perform better and they'll last longer. I'm going to move on and work on another board now, and we'll catch up in a bit. Alright guys, I've got all three of these front circuit boards cleaned up, contact cleaner in everything. All the pots turn and feel really smooth. Everything cleaned up pretty nicely. Got most of that crud off these circuit boards. Got all these caps changed, as you can see. There we go, that's better. Get some light going. So anyway, cleaned up pretty nice. You can see all these caps got changed in here. Let's see if we can get under that one a little bit. Kind of see what's going on in there. Again, everything cleaned up really well. There's the cat. Hi, cat. So now we're going to, I'm going to get the face panel on, and then I'll start looking at these, this goes up front, start looking at these circuit boards back here. There's one, this one, it looks like everything on this one will unplug except maybe one cable, two. But this will pull out of the way. We got another circuit board under here. More caps to check. I don't see anything that looks burnt or blown up or stressed, so I feel good about that. Some more stuff over in here. Cool thing in this amp is that this actually has separate power for 4 speakers, and it runs some kind of Dolby simulated surround for the rear speakers, or I don't know, but it is actual separate power for 4 speakers. Really kind of hoping that these big Nichicons 10,000 UF, those can be pretty spendy caps. These big caps like this. A couple of these other bigger caps I don't have on hand, so I'm gonna test and see how they test, see if they're good or not. I went through and I tested. Here's all the caps out of the front of the amp. Everything here tested within spec. There were a few caps, especially these big guys here. These two, where the bottom is bulged out a little bit. That's just some glue on the bottom. That's not, I don't think that's leaking out of the cap. It's running away. The other one was also glued down. These had a little bit higher loss than I'd like to see, but they were still within a usable tolerance. I replaced them. I had them on hand. Really, for an amp this age, it's exactly what I expected to see in the caps. They tested good. They're within spec. They're within tolerance. Some of the ESR, some of the loss on them is they're starting to show their age, but none of this is necessarily failed yet. So hopefully some of these big caps in the power supply and stuff are, those are really good quality caps, and hopefully we'll find them to be good. I'm going to get this front panel buttoned up, and then we'll get into the back half of the amp, and we'll see how that looks. All right, something I want to show you guys. So I'm working on the secondary amp. It's for the kind of rear or auxiliary 2 channels. You can see I've got a bunch of the caps replaced. I've cleaned up. There was a lot of crud on this circuit board. I haven't got to these 2 big caps yet to test them and see if they're going to be good or not. Right now I've got the relay popped apart, and if you're careful, they're just these black boxes. If you're careful, you can pop these covers off without damaging anything, and that gives us an opportunity to just kind of examine our coil, make sure that looks good. And a lot of times I've dealt with amplifiers where these can turn it on and off your channels. They can turn on and off power supplies. And every time they contact, you can get a little arc in there, and that over time will build up carbon on the contacts, and then the contacts don't work, and you end up with amplifiers that channels don't work, things like that. I've got some Rotel amps that I would have to power them on and off several times to get channels to go, and that's what that was just bad contacts in the relays. We can get some contact cleaner in these, clean these up. This one looks really good, but again, this is the rear auxiliary channels, so they may have never been used or been used very seldomly. But this one's very clean. But we'll get some contact cleaner in it. I'm gonna wait to put this back together until I look at. There's another one of the exact same relay in on the main power amp in here. So I may swap them. I might, because this one looks brand new, nice and clean. I might put this one on the main amp and clean the other one up and put it on this side, just because this side's going to get used way less, if at all. So just wanted to show you guys that quick. A little contact cleaner, clean those up. If you are replacing these, today we can get some much better quality relays with silver alloy contacts that won't do any of that arcing business and will last way longer. All right, so we've got this whole auxiliary amplifier board back in the amp. I did look at that relay. It is not the same relay that's on that other board, so they're not swappable. So that got put back together in there. I don't know if you can see it. I popped these 2 caps out and tested them. These both tested actually really good. Got that whole assembly back together. Everything's looking good in there. Now I'm starting to work on our bottom circuit board in here. And there is an access panel underneath, so I don't have to remove this circuit board with the heat sink and transistors. I don't have to do that to service this board, so that's really good. I did pop out our two big Nichicon caps, 10,000 UF, 69 volt. Tested these. These both tested really strong, so I'm feeling good about the way things are going. So far, the smaller caps that I've replaced and tested, the smaller caps have been way farther out of spec and tolerance than the big caps. So that gives me hope for our other big caps here, and a few on this circuit board. Gives me hope that those will test good as well, and I can get by just replacing the small caps, because this unit isn't. I mean, I'm really impressed with the build quality and the quality of parts in it, but it's just not worth that much money. That if I can do this 100% with parts I have on hand, perfect, right? So I'm gonna get this circuit board cleaned up a bit, and we'll keep going on these caps down on the bottom here, and we'll show you what that looks like. Alright, I've got this bottom circuit board, which is our amplifier board. Let me turn the light on so it focuses. There we go. I've got this one cleaned up. All the caps are changed. Probably could have got the board a little cleaner if I'd have taken it all out of the amp, but that wasn't really necessary. Our two big caps tested really strong. These two caps I've tested good, which is good because I don't, they're 470 UF 80V. I don't have anything big enough on hand, but they tested good. All the other caps on here got replaced. Did find a couple of bad ones. Got, hopefully you can see, two of these 100 UF 35 volt. They're both leaking crud out of the bottoms. Put these on the tester and they both come up like really close, right around 100 UF, but their ESR is off the charts. So if you're just testing caps with a multimeter, it's just giving you that value. It's just telling you, yes, it's 100 UF. There's other ways a cap can be bad. Then had, and those were this one and this one, those two. And then this one, as you can see, we used a poly cap in place of this 1 UF. Hopefully you can see on the camera. It's pretty hard to see it, I guess. But right here on this dark blue line, there is kind of a burn spot on here. And you really can't tell, but if you just drop it in the amp, if you just roll that in your finger over that spot, like you can feel that's bulged out there and that cap isn't round. And this one on the tester just says it is a bad component. So that one's a goner. Everything else on this board looks good. I don't see any overheated resistors or anything like that. So our next thing to look at is this top circuit board. And some of this I'm not as worried about because on the back here there's video switching for VCRs, stuff that is never ever going to get used on this. This, if you got the matching tuner and tape deck and turntable, you could daisy chain cables to for remote control functions. Never going to use that. So some of these caps, like in here, there's a bunch of 33 UF caps. I don't have any on hand. I'm actually out of that particular value. But I'm not going to really worry. I don't see any that look damaged or blown up. I don't see any that look like they're leaking anything out of them. I'm not going to worry too much about those. These big caps on the power supply, I will test those. I'll pull those out and test them. Make sure they're good. This relay, I will pull apart and get some contact cleaner in. Another big cap. That one, I probably got that. I'll probably just replace that one. Other caps, we'll just go through and test and see what we got as we go. This one, for what it is, and I don't see any markings telling me that it's anything really specific, but find the marking on here for you. It's the other side. 4.7 UF, 5.5 volt. That seems like a really specific voltage, and an absolutely huge cap for that. I got here. These are 4.7 UF, 100 volt, and so there's a 100 volt cap, and there's a 5.5 volt cap. So this one, I don't know if it's some specialty cap or something unique that needs to be what it is. So I'm going to test that one, and if this one tests okay, I'll leave it. All right, we'll continue through that journey and catch up with you in a bit. All right, guys. So here's that relay out of that. Hopefully you can see this is just a single contact, where the other one was a dual. And where that one was nice and clean and pristine, this one, if you can kind of see around the edge of the contact, there is some buildup on there. I don't have the best camera in the world. Yeah. It's really hard to get in that angle. But there is some buildup on those contacts in this relay. So we'll get some contact cleaner in there. The coil looks good though. All right, so I've got that odd cap out, and it's 4.7 MF, so 4700 UF, not 4.7 UF, which explains why it's quite a bit larger. This one went on the tester. This one tested good, so we'll put that back. We've got our three bigger caps here. Those all tested good. Otherwise, replaced. Couple over here. You'll notice there are some, like all these 33 UFs. I didn't replace, and I don't really care, because VCR switching circuit. Never going to use that. But our bigger caps here did test good. The rest that I could replace, I replaced. None of these look like anything's wrong with them. I'm gonna go ahead then, and that should be it. Should be everything. I'm gonna get this put back together, and we'll see if it makes noise. All right, guys, there it is. Put together, powered up, working. Thing sounds great. Really impressed with how much power it seems to have. It's nice, punchy, articulate. Everything lights up on it good. Everything works. Seems really good. Unfortunately, every time I show something with sound in it to show you, so you can see it working, I get flagged by ASCAP or some nonsense like that. So you get what you get, but it is together. It is working, sounding great. This was a freebie that someone gave me. Just to recap, I went through, went through a lot of contact cleaner, cleaned up all the circuit boards. Replaced all the little caps that are just cheap and easy and nothing, everything I had on hand. I tested a lot of those. There were 3 caps that were actually bad in the amp. A bunch more of the smaller caps were within tolerance, but kind of on the edge. All the big caps tested good. We tore apart and cleaned those relays. Everything on this is working like it should. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other videos. Thanks.